Hi, Toni. Hi, Toni. Hi, Toni. Hi, Toni. Hi.
Hi besties, it's me, your girl, your friendly neighborhood otaku, Scarrlet Uzumaki, back with another video. Yay! I'm honestly so happy that you could all make it back to the bestie verse today. Do you know what you need? Do you know what you need? You know what you came for? You came for a headpad! I really just want to squeeze your cheeks because why? You look so goddamn cute.
Stop it. Get some help.
So besties, if you were here last video, we were talking about the situation with a Disney adult known as Toni, who has a fascination with her favourite character, Peter Pan, and that led to her actually visiting him every week for the past 10 years. Lately, it was deemed her actions were exhibiting signs of both stalking and harassment for the Peter Pan actor, and I want to talk about that. I cannot talk about anything Disney related without wearing proper Disney attire, so let's get the ears back on. So fun fact, these ears were actually made by one of my friends. Shout out to you, Chixie Choo. You can see her out on the ear right here. So besties, I mentioned before that one of the reasons why I wanted to make a part 2 to this video was that some people were making false claims about Toni online. Now I'm somebody who likes to discover the facts. I don't like to be wrong, and I also have this strong moral sense of justice. I don't know, maybe it's the autism speaking, but I personally like it when people don't lie to me. And so it really annoyed me when people were spreading misinformation about Toni online, especially because other people, the netizens online, they were lapping it up and fully believing the lies that are being told. And there are many accounts and users out there who are claiming that Toni has actually been banned from Disneyland. And one of the accounts that is spreading false information is this account right here on TikTok. This account on TikTok is called Primescope Daily, and the fact that we have this icon that says news as their profile picture, it does portray themselves as a news source. They don't kind of correct this in their bio, so them portraying themselves as a credible news source is a little bit disingenuous, especially because a lot of people in the comments were lapping up this information from the video, which I'll play for you now.
A woman who had been banned from Disneyland managed to sneak back in and once again harass Peter Pan. A video clip captured a truly heartwarming moment. Peter Pan crouched down beside a little girl in a pink wheelchair, bringing himself to her eye level, pointing to the sky and telling her stories about Neverland. However, when people looked at the background, they couldn't believe their eyes. It was the very same woman who had been banned from Disneyland days earlier, a woman who had been at the center of a widely publicized controversy. She had previously been filmed cornering this specific Peter Pan actor and following him around the park while he tried to back away, avoid eye contact, and find a way to end the encounter without breaking character. And this wasn't an isolated incident. People reviewing her past posts discovered she had been pestering Peter Pan performers for years. Meanwhile, other guests, children waiting for a photo with the character, were left empty-handed. She had been banned from the park, yet there she was. No one could explain how she kept managing to get back inside. Many began to wonder, was she perhaps dangerously obsessed with the character of Peter Pan?
First and first, it was actually a nice video of Peter Pan interacting with this park guest, who is a child who's using a wheelchair, and he's actually sitting on the ground to talk to her. However, as you notice, in the background of the video, you can see Toni, and she is waiting for her turn to interact with Peter. However, this Daily Scope account, they kind of framed it as, oh look, she's in the background, she's stalking him again. She's not doing anything wrong in this instance. She is simply just waiting for her turn to speak with him, and the fact that they have framed it in such a way like no one could believe their eyes, she was there again, is it's just so hilarious to me. Never mind that, there's also the very bold claim that they made that Toni, before this video aired, had been banned from the park. However, for Daily Scope to make this claim that Toni has been banned from Disneyland without any credible proof is very laughable. And all I have to say to those people is, Do your research. There's no point in spreading these false narratives like, oh, this girl's so crazy, she got herself banned, just to try and like get internet clicks and get some clout. No, just tell the truth. If you don't know, just say that. Don't go around and spreading false narratives about this person. This kind of like harassment of her has gone a little bit too far. Hello, Editing Scarlett here. So whilst editing this video, I actually came across this video of Toni claiming that she is uncancelable. But the only thing is, this video is not Toni at all. It is AI.
Disneyland will never ban me. I'm their loyal super VIP guest. I renew my annual pass every year, visit weekly, and splurge on merch. You know how much money I drop here every single year? After all, the customer is always right. Peter Pan never grows up in his Neverland. His fairy tale world is my escape from real life, and that's why I'm so obsessed with him. I'm no different from fans chasing Mickey or Elsa. My green bean and I will take a little break from all the rumors lately. Lots of people brand my 10 years of park visits, workplace harassment, call me obsessive, and even say I need to see a therapist. They claim every Peter Pan actor tenses up, ducks away from me, and only interacts with me out of work duty. I completely disagree. I bring hand-knitted gifts stitched for hours every trip, and every cast member accepts them happily. Not one has ever told me to back off or stop following them. Plenty of grown men creep on the princesses with inappropriate touches and odd requests, yet I've never behaved out of line in 10 years. I'll keep coming to see my green bean every week? So, do you still think my 10-year fondness counts as harassment?
So besties, of course there's the matter that this user used an AI copy of Toni to make this video, but alongside this, they used footage of another park goer, Thomas. If you're not aware who Thomas is, he is a young man with autism, and in his content it shows him interacting with lots of the Disney characters when he goes to the parks. And these interactions are so wholesome, besties, because as Thomas is a frequent visitor of the park, the characters from Captain America to Pocahontas all address him by name, and they are all aware of his communication style. So Thomas is mostly non-verbal, so these cast members usually interact with him through a lot of hand-holding, a lot of wide gestures, and they allow him to lead the interactions. Austin kind of twisted that interaction and showed it as something malicious, portraying him as somebody who was creeping on Ariel in that video, when that wasn't the case. It's videos like these that do a lot more harm than good. Not only are they spreading misinformation, but they are painting people with disabilities like autism in a negative light. Another bit of misinformation I also wanted to share with you besties was that there's also another user on TikTok who is claiming that Toni is putting air tags inside of the gifts that she makes for Peter Pan. I'm going to play that video for you now.
Why was Toni never afraid the AirTag hidden inside the dolls would be discovered? Hardly anyone realized she had devised 3 methods to ensure she could pinpoint Peter Pan within the 500-acre amusement park, even if the dolls were thrown away. First, she knew a single doll might get discarded sooner or later, so she brought a brand new handmade doll every time they met. The steady stream of handmade gifts gradually put the actor at ease, who always regarded them merely as kind gestures from an ordinary fan. Even if an old doll was tossed aside, a new one would be handed to the actor without pause, keeping the tracking ongoing non-stop. Second, Disney rotates performers for the role of Peter Pan regularly. Over the span of 10 years, numerous actors have portrayed this character, each differing in build, facial expressions, and walking posture. Toni carefully photographed every performer's appearance and silhouette, memorizing their features thoroughly to tell them apart accurately. Even if the park switched out the actor unexpectedly, she could spot her target from afar at a glance and never mix people up. Lastly, after each brief interaction, regular visitors would leave once they finished taking photos. Toni, however, lingered behind. She walked slowly following the performer the entire time, accompanying him through parades, position transfers, and stops for subsequent meet and greets. In this way, she mapped out every single route Peter Pan traveled throughout the park.
So besties, I found that video to be very malicious because they are claiming some very, very concerning actions to be carried out by Toni. So they're claiming that she has put tracking devices inside the gifts that she has given to the Peter Pan actors. Alongside this, they're claiming that she has taken photographs of the actors so she can track them better. All the while, they have no proof that she has done any of these actions. And that, besties, is why I find this very malicious, because they are making these very, very concerning claims without any proof whatsoever. And there are people in the comments of that video who are eating it up. And besties, it's videos that I've just shown you that are feeding into this witch hunt against Toni, and also feeding into this narrative that she is a danger to be around, when I do think she is somebody that does need to learn boundaries. I'm not saying that she is this perfect angel sent from above who's done absolutely nothing wrong. Yes, she does need to learn boundaries, as there are some videos where she is, you know, getting a little bit too close to Peter Pan, not understanding social cues, not understanding when he's trying to hand it off to another character so he can interact with other guests. She's not getting that, it's not clocking to her, but I don't think she is a dangerous person. So now, besties, we actually get to hear from one of the former Disneyland Peter Pans who actually interacted with Toni over her 10 years visiting the park.
Alright, hi everyone. It's me. From the many videos that have been going around on TikTok, I flew with Peter in Disneyland from 2014 to 2021, and yes, I had many interactions with Toni. So, as you can see in the video, Toni's behavior did make me feel a little awkward and uncomfortable, but at no point did it cross any boundaries of what a character interaction should look like at Disneyland. She was very enthusiastic about meeting the character, maybe a little more so than most, but it never crossed the boundary of trying to get to know the performer. And so we need to end the discourse and the harassment and the online toxicity that is being aimed at her. She's doing nothing wrong. She's acting within all the guidelines of what a guest should do at Disneyland. It's a little extra and a little more than most, but she's within her right to do so. And the best thing that you can do with personalities that are a little extra is cut off their supply to attention. So stop the likes, stop the comments, and stop the sharing or the reposts.
So there were a couple things that stuck out to me from this person who used to fly with Peter, his name is Dylan, had said about the situation. One thing he did say was there were times when Toni's behaviour did make him feel uncomfortable, and I think it's very important to hear from people who are actually experiencing the behaviour firsthand rather than putting words in people's mouths. Obviously, the current Peter Pan actors cannot say anything. As part of their job of flying with Peter at Disneyland is they cannot speak about it outside of Disneyland, kind of like Fight Club, so they cannot say anything. However, former Peters, like this guy here, he can actually give his experiences, and from what he said, Toni did make him uncomfortable. However, he then goes on to say that the behaviour didn't go against anything that went outside of a normal guest interaction. Another thing, besties, that Dylan also said that Toni was very enthusiastic about meeting the character, and in his words said, maybe more so than most, which, yeah, I think I can see that in the video. And I'm not trying to excuse Toni's behaviour, but I do think behaviours like this are very typical when Disney adults meet our favourite characters. I know for me, when I have met Goofy, I was super excited. I literally could not speak because I was that awestruck by meeting him. Now, I'm not saying that the way she shows her enthusiasm is absolutely perfect. I do think she does need a little bit of guidance with her, how she shows her enthusiasm. But from what Dylan said, she didn't cross any boundaries, and her interactions with Peter were typical interactions that most cast members have at Disneyland. And one thing that I do commend him for was that he said the best way to stop this discourse is to stop feeding it. So stop with the comments, stop with the reposts, because you are just giving more attention to the situation. I think it's time for us to take off the ears because we are coming to our conclusion of the video. So besties, to conclude, I do think more protections need to be put in place to ensure that the Disneyland characters are treated with respect. Or maybe there should be a handler at all times around, especially for the free roaming characters. Like for example with Peter Pan, in those videos that I have seen, he's just by himself. There's no handler there whatsoever. I do think these free roaming characters need a handler, not right next to them, but following a few yards behind, just to make sure that nothing untoward is happening to them, and to also to prevent the characters from feeling awkward or having their boundaries crossed. It would have made things a whole lot easier for Peter Pan if, say for example, he was feeling awkward, you had a handler go up to someone like Toni and saying, oh, Peter needs to go and find the lost boys now, let's go, and leading him away from the situation. things like that. Alongside this, I do believe that Toni and other Disney adults like her need to learn boundaries, because remember, the people behind your favorite characters, they are people too, and they do deserve respect. We need to learn what boundaries are, and if you are somebody who does have a neurodivergent disability, it's really important you learn about boundaries. And if you're unsure, have somebody with you who maybe can help guide you, like a little friend or a friend, a parent, a guardian, anybody with you who can help point out to you when it's important to exercise those boundaries and to respect other people. So besties, I believe that's all I have time for today. Let me know if you enjoyed this little video. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Why? Because I want to know what's going on in that little noggin. So yes, besties, that's all I have time for today. Make sure you tune into next week's video where things will be happening. Can I tell you what those things are? No, because I don't know myself. Right, besties? Bye-bye. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye.
Girl, look how orange you look, girl.